Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So today's video, we're going to talk about we are what our animals eat. And what I'm talking about is right now in America, 7 out of 10 adults have a chronic disease. What they're finding with the science is that it's directly related to what we're eating. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this topic. When you're talking about fertilizing your crops, okay, you can either fertilize for the plants or you can feed your soil. And it's very different. When you feed the soil that your plants are growing in, what you're basically doing is creating an environment that is more natural. You're worried about what's underneath the ground at soil level versus what's coming up on the top of it. So when we do commercialized fertilizers like NPK? I don't even know. Yeah. So when you do commercialized fertilizers, what you're doing is feeding the plant. And we all know, especially here recently, that the majority of that fertilizer is going to end up in the waterways. Very little of it is actually uptaken by the plant. So what you need to be concerned with is feeding your soil. Okay, it works like this. There are certain fats, omega-6s, that start and maintain inflammation. Now, an omega-6 has a purpose, and that's when you get injured, like me, with a pitchfork, and your body needs to heal, all right? Then you have something called omega-3 fats, which actually turn off the process of inflammation. So you have an on button, omega-6, you have an off button, omega-3. What they're finding out is a good diet for you and your animals of omegas is a 1-to-1 ratio. But right now in the current Western diet, we're getting something like 30-to-1. All right, so think about that. You're getting 30 omega-6s, which is the on switch for the inflammation, versus 1 omega-3, which is the off switch for that inflammation. And that is a direct correlation between a chronic disease that's inflammatory, like diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, cancer. We're now understanding that those are all inflammatory responses of our body to the environment that we're in. Okay, so the way that we help conquer that is to be able to increase the omega-3s found in our plants, and then to move our animals to eating the plants that we grow organically and regeneratively. So this is just an introductory video on a topic that I intend to dive really deep with you guys on what our animals eat is very important. I know that bagged feed is a concern right now for a lot of people, but it's daunting to think about trying to feed your animals without a pelleted feed. Well, this is something I believe that all of us homesteaders, farmsteaders, farmers, backyard gardeners, something we're all going to have to work together to see this through. So if you have any information you'd like to share in the comments on this video, please do. Because right now, guys, we're going to have to think outside of the box, right? What we're seeing is an increase in fertilizer prices. We're seeing the Green New Deal and climate change cohorts come against commercialized fertilizers. Now, I'm not always big on the climate change thing. I don't care what that science says. What I am concerned about is that I do know that commercialized fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides are not good for us, and they're not feeding our soil. So for me, it's all about soil health, because when I can produce a healthy plant that is nutrient dense, then I can produce the omega-3s in that plant. When I feed that to my animals, that is then transferred to their meat. And then when I eat their meat, I'm getting the correct dietary needs for me to help shut down the inflammatory response of my body. So when we're getting food from CAFO systems, where you've got cattle that are being grain-fed, GMO grain, and these animals are pumped full of antibiotics, their bodies are full of omega-6s. Remember what I said. Omega-6 is the on switch for your inflammatory system. So what we need to do as a community of like-minded people is come up with ways to create more omega-3s in our plants and in our animals to get that into our diet, because we are what we eat. So I hope that you like, you comment, that you subscribe. Stephen and I thank you for rowing in our boat. We just hit our 2,000th subscriber in 7.5 months. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you guys, and I hope that y'all will dive into this topic with me. Let's figure this out. We don't need scientists. God gave each and every one of us a brain, and we can do this. Guys, have a blessed day.